Welcome to Northwest Bruin Football Show. I'm the head coach, Josh Robinson, and this is the offensive coordinator, Chad Fisher. This past Friday, we took on the Gilmer Bobcats in a shootout in which Northwest won 6-0. We're really happy with the results. Obviously, closer than we'd like it, but at the same time, a win's a win. Mm-hmm. Really difficult, conditions that are played. If you look across North Georgia where the rain really came, it was really difficult for everybody to score points. But at the same time, we're really proud of our defense. But our offense really did some good things. We moved the ball with a good amount of consistency. It's especially in the second half, we shot ourselves in the foot with a bad snap, a missed handoff, those kind of things that typically happen in this kind of weather. Again, I've coached for, I guess, about 20 years. And at this point, I would say I've only been in 2 games like that in 20 years. So definitely a unique situation.
Yeah, it was obviously the conditions were horrible, and the field condition, constant rain on and off, trying to have a dry ball out there, and it made the situation really bad at times. But I thought our kids showed some toughness, especially some mental toughness, battling through the elements. And when you play in a situation like that, the game plan that we had worked on all week, we kind of threw out the window this morning once we knew the rain was coming in and was going to stay here. And the goal was to get first downs, flip the field, play field position, and that's what we were able to do. We was able to get an early touchdown, and then it became more or less a field position game. If we didn't have the opportunity to get a first down, we'd punt it and flip the field. So hats off to our kids for battling the elements and battling all the conditions that went with the game today.
Absolutely. I'm proud of the coaching staff. I'm proud of the kids. It's not easy to play in those situations, but we found a way to win. That's really all that matters. Mm-hmm. Stat-wise, Owen Brooker was 10 for 14 for 67 yards, which is really, when you consider everything, it's not a bad night at all.
Yeah, not a bad night. The balls were, by the midway through the second quarter, they were soaking wet. They were heavy. They probably added 2 or 3 pounds of weight on the football. But I thought Owen managed the game well, especially in the second half. He really did a good job. And that was one of the things that he and I discussed over at halftime was, look, we don't need you to win the game for us. We just need you to manage the game and not put us in a bad situation. And I thought he did a much better job of that in the second half.
Without the bad snaps, we ended up with 213 yards on the night between passing and rushing.
Yes.
And again, considering the element's pretty good, but of course you add in the bad snaps and drop balls on exchanges, stuff like that. But we ended up, fortunately, not turning the ball over, but really one time, and then a bad snap on, and really we didn't field it on a punt as well. Gavin Ellis had another good night, had 25 carries for 102 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah, Gavin's really done a good job, and Gavin knew going in that we were going to rely on him heavily, and especially in this type of game, it kind of played into his strengths of just running it up in there and powering his way through there and getting some big runs when they had the opportunity to. He, obviously, if you were at the game or if you've been able to watch it, you could see that there was, standing water in numerous spots on the field, and it became a little quagmire out there. So he really did a good job. Bryce Mantooth did a really good job running the football for us also as well.
He had 7 carries for 44 yards and the coolest splash on the night for sure.
Yes, he did. That would be a definite 10 on the splashometer.
Then we had Matthew Redmond, who ended up with 7 catches, which is really difficult. Good job by him. I do not think he had a drop.
He did not.
Had 53 yards on the night.
Absolutely. Matthew did a very good job, and we had worked that little slip screen, and it played into our hands. Preston Nealey had a good night for us, had 2 big catches to start the game off with when we were able to have a dry football out there. So, all in all, not a great night, but definitely a good night because it was a win, and very proud of the way our kids battled the elements.
Coach Art, I've been around a long time, just like you have. You're older than me, so you've been around
and this was
longer.
Your birthday. This was your week,
That's right. I'm getting older. But in the end, a win's a win. 101 to 100 or 1-0 or whatever score you can come up with, as long as our side says more than the other, it's a good night. We'll go back to work. Our kids will be more prepared if we face this situation again this year. So, there are some benefits to it, and we're certainly proud of our young men for going out and fighting and overcoming some adversity with many different conditions. At this time.
So here we are, opening up the game. We get the ball on the kickoff. A nice little throw and hitch to Preston Nealey. Preston had 2 catches tonight. You can see right there how the elements are really bad, and just see how sloppy it is. Nice little run by Bryce right there. Here's another good throw by Owen to Preston there in the first quarter. Not a bad job opening drive where we worked to flip the field and just try to play field position, knowing that the field conditions were really bad.
Unbelievable punt by Matthew Redmond there. And really, we set the tone early with our guys. You can see Dakota Hickman. There's our linebackers, our new guys trying to get broke into the game. The counters have been a really big play for them, and our guys were really flying around and putting things in perspective and really working as a team. Jordan's got to get away from that kick there, but we end up with the ball on the 32-yard line.
Absolutely. Here's a slip screen that we was able to work all night with Matthew. Nice job throwing, nice job offensive line getting downfield looking for work. And here's a nice little stretch play to Gavin. Nice job blocking downfield by the receivers, offensive line setting the edge and really moving the ball, pushing the ball towards the end zone. Gavin again on a little trap play. Nice job. The offensive line trying to get in there and push it around and try to help him gain a few extra yards. And then nice little give right here. I think if he keeps his feet right here, he may punch it in there just a little bit, but we're going to go ahead and punch it in on this next play. And, it's a nice way to start the first quarter off and take a lead.
Dayton Cowart with a tackle there, Coach, as he turned around.
Yeah.
But we kick off and ended up they fumbled the ball and we dove on it without blowing in the whistle, and they ended up calling us for a late hit. So really big, it's really hard to stop a power team when they're trying to get in there and get those fourth down situations. Keith McQuagan on the tackle has really played better the last couple of weeks and maturing and learning how to practice. Here they get off a punt. And good job by them working with field position at the end of the first quarter, and we come back on offense.
Yeah, we run this little slip screen again. We was able to run this about 4 or 5 times tonight and pick up really big yards on that. So nice job to Matthew on the offensive line and Owen throwing that ball.
We end up punting it away. Good tackle by Matthew, one of the few times they really got positive yards. There's Jax Brooker. Freshman, hadn't got to practice with us a ton. He's really going to be a good football player. He's a physical kid. Comes in there with a tackle. There you can see a whole host of Bruins with the blue jersey coming. That's really good to see. There's Costlow working across. Jake Fawcett in on the tackle, and our guys just really rallying around. Again, they've got good field position. Counter, a big play for them. Our guys, Jordan McCamish, a really big play. We end up making them punt inside the 35. They want to pin us deep and try to keep working that field position. Ends up eking into the end zone. Good job by Matthew and Cooper not fielding that.
Right, here's Bryce right here. And I think this is the big splash right here that we were talking about.
Yes.
So nice job there hitting the wave pool. And nice job up front blocking.
It's like the deadliest catch out there.
Yeah. But, you can see how bad the elements were. But our kids are really battling and really playing. Nice job. The biggest thing Gavin did right there was really hold on to the football in that pile.
Flip the field, and here's a really good tackle by Matthew Redmond. The official hurts his back, and he ends up laying on the field for a minute. But a good job by Kobe Rams, who's really came on and been a really strong player for us. Kobe gets upfield just a hair there, but it ends up working out in our favor. We get another tackle for a loss out of him, which is really big to keep them deep. So that, again, we can try to work that field position that we know in these elements is going to be such a big deal with the ball going out of bounds around the 47.
Right. This is right before the half. This is a nice drive. We're trying to get if we can get close, or we can get in field goal range, or we can take a shot right before half, and unfortunately we weren't able to.
At this time, let's take a look at our corporate sponsors.
Jeb Brooker, number 50, offensive defensive line. I mainly listen to country, like old country. I listen to some new country too. Well, I usually go around to my closest friends and we'll have a little talk, and I I mainly sit around and listen to music, and on home games, my dad's always outside the field house setting up the tunnel. He's usually got some wisdom to share before the game. Probably first region game this year. We was playing Ridgeland, and I blocked to the left, and my brother took about a 60-yard run right off my back to the house. That was a very memorable moment for me and him. I don't know. I'm always, I'm always the guy they pick on. It seems like a lot. I don't really, just for everything I do, it seems like they always pick on me. I like to go to the Rocky Mountains, and I'm a hunter. I like to there's some good hunting out there. I just like to experience some of that. One time I was at the field house, and I was getting to drive up after workouts. So I was going to drive up to the school, and I came out, and Jacob Sanders had put locks on where my door latches, and I couldn't close my driver's side or passenger side door, and I just had to. And he had the keys, and he was already at the school. One time I had a bunch of football players over at my house for spending the night for my birthday. In the middle of the night, me and maybe Bryce Mantooth got their keys, and Food Line's right down the road, and we drove every one of their cars to Food Line at 3 a.m. in the morning. Junior year last year, played Dalton. We had just scored a touchdown. Everybody was going crazy. It was raining. Awesome game. I ran off to the sideline, and I jumped up right in front of the student section to a huge fist pump, and there was a drain. I landed on it. My feet came out from under me. I fell flat on my back in front of the student section. They started chanting my name. That's embarrassing. Well, it kind of leaves my childhood, but I peed in the bed till I was like 13. Well, I'd like to thank, first off, my Lord and Savior, for all He's done for me. And I'd like to thank my dad, my mom, my grandparents, my Uncle Jerry, the coaches for always investing all the time they have, in making me who I am today. Jeb Brooker, number 50, offensive, defensive line.
Zach Costlow, number 47. I play defensive line. Rap music. Just hydrate and listen to music, I guess. Going to the playoffs. I'd go to Bora Bora because I just always want to go there. Callen Nealey put a raccoon in my car. Oh, I put spoiled milk in someone's windshield wiper fluid. Running off the sideline and falling. I used to be scared of the Grinch. My parents, God, and just the whole Northwest football staff. Zach Costlow, number 47. I play defensive line.
Welcome back to the Northwest Bruin Football Show. I'm Josh Robinson. This is Chad Fisher. On the night, anytime we get a shutout, a great night.
Mm-hmm.
Hasn't happened very much in my time at Northwest when we've had some really good defensive teams. And a lot of the times when we get up, we've talked about this before, I'm not out there to beat my chest about how many shutouts we've got or how many points we can score, and we run up the score on people. We beat a lot of people by a lot of points and then put our subs in. And the other team leads their first team in, which is certainly their prerogative. And when they do that, it gives them an opportunity to score points. So there's not been a ton of opportunities in my time here in the 17 years But at the same time, you know, getting a shutout
Yeah.
tonight was really big. If we give up a touchdown, we're an extra point away from losing the game. So I'm really proud of the way our guys played.
Yeah, absolutely. And our defense has really played well all year. They've kept us in the game. They've given us scoring opportunities, and tonight was another example of that. You know, they did a great job, especially I thought our defense fit well to what we were going to see with Gilmer on their offense, with them running the wing tee, and that played into our hands. I don't think they threw the ball but 3 or 4 times there at the end. So
that's right.
Those guys on defense did a really fantastic job, and they've been our backbone all year, and hopefully they'll continue to do that.
You know, that's what football's about. Special teams, offense, defense, they've all got to work together. You know, when you're playing solid football teams, it's not going to click perfectly in all 3 phases, but you've got to adjust and do the things you need to be successful, and that's what our guys did tonight. Our defensive line had a very productive night,
Yes, they
Coach.
did. Yeah, Chase Humble had 5 tackles tonight. He had 2 for a loss and had a QB pressure. And again, this is a kid who's not getting a lot of reps during the week because he's banged up right now, but I thought he really did a great job tonight.
You know, he and Dakota Hickman, they really tried to double team those guys, run off tackle. We really stopped that with our linebackers, a good play by them. And then they tried to hit us inside. So really not a lot of opportunities for Chase to come up with those kind of numbers was really good. Dakota Hickman had 3 tackles, all for a loss, and a quarterback pressure. So both those guys combined to be really productive for us on the night. And then we had Zach Costlow.
Yeah, Zach had a great night, and this is back-to-back weeks with double-digit tackles. He had 11 tackles, had 1 for a loss, and then Jeb was able to get in there and play with his hand, and with one arm and one hand, he had 2 tackles and 1 tackle for a loss. And when you watch the highlights, you're going to see the bandage starting to come unraveled a little bit. But all those guys really did a fantastic job up front and really kind of slowed. You know, the last 4 games, Gilmer's has really done a lot of good things done well on offense and really moved the ball. And I thought our guys really stepped up to the game today.
You know, Coslow's played really good. Jeb comes in and gives us quality minutes. And those guys have averaged over 20 points a game the last 4 games, over 300 yards of offense,
Absolutely.
scored 22 and 23 against Pickens and Heritage. So, you know, we know those guys are good football teams. So we had our work cut out for us, and our guys really stepped up to the plate to meet the challenge. Jordan McCamish had another good night for us too, Coach.
Jordan had double digits, had 13 tackles. Just, you know, again, we talk about him each week. He flies around. He's active during practice during the week. He's active on Friday nights. And where last year people tried to run away from Jamari, it's a little bit harder to run away from Jordan this year because he's able to do so much other things for us.
No, that's right. And our defensive line playing the way they have has really contributed
freed him up a little bit.
to his success.
Yes.
It really has. And that's the way a defensive unit's supposed to work. They're all supposed to work together, and our guys have done that. Jake Fawcett came in and played for Bailey McQuaig. You know, he missed Bailey missed the Lafette game, came back for the Pickens game, was out again tonight. Just nursing that ankle and trying to get back. And Jake came in and did a really solid job for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Jake had 10 tackles. He had 1 for a loss, had a QB pressure. So, again, another great night for Jake getting in there. And he struggled early on in the week with trying to get the reads down. And I thought tonight was a much better effort and a much better example of him, you know, learning the game plan and learning what to do, and really did a good job. Logan Akins was another guy that had a really good night, had 8 tackles and 1 for a loss.
Absolutely. You know, Jake came in and replaced Bailey, did an admirable job. He's got to practice better. He's learning how to do that. Logan's been a consistent guy for us. There were worries early in the second quarter that he broke his finger. But we had Damon Banta and Jax Brooker and Jaden Santiago really come in and step up. Jax being a freshman, Jaden being a sophomore. And then a really big part of our defense was Colby Ramsey. He had 13 tackles on the night and 2 for a loss. 3 for a loss. And he was really an instrumental item in us being successful. The secondary didn't have many opportunities. Jacob Sanders had 3 tackles. Keaton McQuaig had 5 tackles. Matthew Redmonds had 8 tackles and an interception.
Yeah,
so
the closer
overall,
came in and got a pick.
That's right. Overall, a really good night by our defense.
Yes.
You know, there's things that we can do better just as any week. You know, we know we've got our work cut out for us for the next 2 weeks.
Absolutely.
At this time, let's take a look at the second half highlights. start the half on defense, and really a good key that they're coming this way with the fullback offset, and our guys do a great job running to the football and really come out with that first drive. Good tackle by several of our Bruins there. Good job stopping them up the middle. Zach Costlow in on it again, along with a multitude of other guys. Playing hard, fitting those gaps. Really good tackle by our guys. I believe that was Chase Humble, broke free. End up giving them nothing to start the second half, which is really important, in a one-score game, really a touchdown and an extra point away from a loss or a lead being given up.
Yeah, here's a nice little run by Gavin. Thought we had a really good drive to start the second half. We had a bad snap there that pushed the ball back. And just because of the elements, the ball being wet and had not been able to grip it, but was able to get the ball out of the danger and give our defense a good chance.
Here they end up getting a first down in a couple plays later, but our guys are flying around. This is probably the scariest drive they had because they got the ball in our territory because of the bad snap. Ended up getting a really favorable spot on fourth down, came up with it. And then our guys just do a great job. Well, that's an awesome job by Jeb Brooker. He kind of just beat everybody up there. Makes a tackle behind the line of scrimmage. Our defensive lineman, there's Dakota Hickman in on it, and then our other guys flying to the football. On fourth down, they run a little reverse. It's kind of difficult to read, but we've got Zach Costlow out making a tackle among other guys.
Yeah, here's a fourth quarter. We give the ball to Gavin. Nice little run, and he really ran the ball well tonight. Not only tonight, but all year. He's really done a big job for us. We're going to give it to him again, and we're pounding our way up there to get another first down and try to keep the clock moving. And we realize at this time we're not going to be able to throw as much, and then we throw a little quick hitter. But I think we threw it twice in the second half, and we ran the football, and we played field position and ran the clock, and the kids really did a great job of doing, operating the new game plan that we put in right before the game.
That's, and we knew the rain was coming, but we were hoping it moved out. Really nice inside tunnel there to Matthew Redmond. Great job blocking by our guys up front. Did a really solid job in these kind of elements in the spread offense of going out with, the passing element really taken away. Our guys did an outstanding job.
There's Matthew again. Nice little job getting the ball downfield. And we flipped the field right there before the end, which really played big dividends for us.
Did, and unfortunately we were going to kick it and try to cough and kick it, and there was the snap that just hit right in front of us. And we're fortunate there that the ball wasn't completed. One of the few passes they threw, trying to run the buck sweep against us, and our guys are just flying around to the ball and really aggressive, and did a great job of basically only giving up 2 yards on 4 plays. Get a punt off, and that ends up around the 21-yard line, which again is not too deep for us, so we can come back out and try to play field.
Right. This is a nice run. This is our last drive. We're trying to run the clock out and get things going. Nice little run. The best thing he did right there was 2 hands on the ball. We talked about that before the game. When you get in a pile, make sure you have 2 hands on it and hold on to it, just like here. So overall, a really good night for the way the kids played and the way they battled. Here's Gavin again on a little trap. Nice job blocking downfield. You can see how muddy it is and how sloppy it is. We just trying to get out of there with a win and trying to hold on to the football and not turn it over.
And we ended up kicking the ball off. The first play, they threw a Hail Mary up, kind of, and we were right there. And they ended up catching it. We ended up tackling them. And here is basically the last play of the game. We get really good pressure. They throw it right to Matthew Redmond. He ends up getting a return there. And our guys make a few mental mistakes there. We played really hard. We end up having the best play in football.
That's it.
Which is the victory, as Owen takes a knee and Northwest wins the game 6-0 to move to 6-2 on the year.
Callen Nealey, number 82, play wide receiver. Rap, country, and that's about it. I just keep it to myself and I try to focus on the game ahead. My first time playing varsity, like my first play, I kind of got tackled playing linebacker by the center and kind of ran me straight over. I play basketball. Colby Ramsey put paper shards in my truck, and there was like a million of them everywhere. Also, shout out to Jack Brock for helping me clean it the next day. I put a raccoon in Zach's car. I used to be scared of the dark about 3rd grade. I like to dance, even though I'm not good at it. I like to thank my mom, my dad, God, for just giving me the ability to play both sports. Callen Nealey, number 82, play wide receiver.
Logan Akins, number 33, and I play linebacker. Mainly country music, a little bit of rap. Before a game, I kind of just keep to myself, listen to my music, and think about what I got to do. Probably against Lafayette about 2 weeks ago, I got 2 interceptions. Well, they pick on me about being short. Probably Alaska. Alaska is very beautiful. I love the mountains. Nobody really pranks me. Well, I took a car battery out of a guy's car and hid it from him. Probably after one of the interceptions, I came off the field running and I kind of tripped. Oh, I was deathly scared of the dark. I first and foremost have to thank God, my family, my former coaches, everybody that's helped me out up until this point. Logan Akins, number 33, and I play linebacker.
Welcome back to the Bruin Football Show. We have a very big ending to our season coming. I feel like a lot of people look to the Heritage game, but really Southeast is not a team we can overlook. We're a very important team for them to play well and to beat, and they could really make their season by upsetting us.
Yes.
We're going to have to travel down there, but we're going to have to take care of business. They have some really good players that can cause us issues in the quarterback and a couple of running backs for sure, and a big O-line with a solid wide receiver. So there's parts there to beat us if we don't play well, Coach Fisher. So hopefully we come out with an excitement, ready to play. I know last week was a tough night for our fans to try to get out in that kind of weather. Really hope you come out and support these young men at Southeast and then at home against Heritage the next couple of weeks. Our guys have put in a lot of work to try and be successful, and really deserve a following for them. Until next week, this is Josh Robinson and Chad Fisher.